Yo, what is up, Knights? It's your host, Aegis Rick here, bringing you episode 3 of the DFO podcast, Arad Airways. In this episode, we're going to be focusing on the theme of future updates. All the topics that we're going to discuss are things that we don't have yet in DFOG, but we're going to be getting eventually, and actually some sooner than later, as you can probably already guess. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the episode recap. Alrighty, we talked a little bit about Temporal Rift, guys, and my opinions on it. I got a really nice and insightful comment from Ipsen13 on the Reddit, actually, who says, Temporal Rift has some incentive until the 6th of February. In other words, Epic Transfer Stone, which obviously this is well past that date now, but he says the limitations happen to be opportune. You can transfer 85 weapons only, and Temporal Rift not only has bugged bias towards weapons, it has an intended bias towards level 85 equipment. If you don't have what you desire or are dead set to transfer, Temporal offers the best chance even at the cost of efficiency, which is a great point. I was not opportune in talking about the various events that we have, and I didn't even think about it, honestly. So at the time, we had these transfer stones that we could use to transfer a level 85 epic weapon to another character on an account. It would have been perfect time to farm. So great point to make. Next, we kind of talked about the Econ dungeons and my current opinion of them. Coming Origin update, I believe there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be happening, and as you'll see in the kind of theme of the video, Origin is right around the corner, so it's really nice that we're going to be getting changes to Econ. This Korean guy, I have no idea what his name is. I'll just put it on the stream. He gave us a lot of insight as to what we're going to be getting with Econ. For Econ specifically, right now in KDFO, there are some changes that reflected the complaints referred on the video. You can re-enchant set options with discounting 90% of your Dharma that's already used. Huge thing. That's what I was saying. It costs the complete cost. Now it's only going to cost 10% of that. They shrank the trials from 6 to 4 without changing the total Dharma that you get after the trials, which is just reducing the farm time. Huge change, honestly, when you have to farm it for so long. Deleted iframe on some named enemies, which this is something I didn't talk about in the video, but a lot of you guys brought up the point that the mobs are effing annoying, right? Because they're iframing all the time, so big nerf there. Can buy materials for upgrading individual parts with enchanting set options, and do the opposite way also. The exchange ratio is 1-to-1. Neopol patched that for the people mistakenly bought the wrong material, which is kind of a convenience thing right there. And I do believe there's going to be a way to change the actual stats on there. Right now, you can't really change out of your pool of stats. I do believe you can use some kind of item in an icon to change that. I don't know the details, but that's another point to be made. But thanks, Korean guy. And the last thing I talked about actually was just asking you guys if you guys are working on a guide video. I don't want to talk about it too much myself, but it drained me. And that's kind of reflected in a comment made by Dark Holy PL, who says, I barely have time to play the game as is. Not doing any guides. Real life is a bitch time sing. Cheers. It is. I think I burned myself out on trying to force myself to finish that damn guide in 1 month, and it was not possible to do. I know Neopol's saying, oh, you got plenty of time, but it's not enough for the undertaking I went in. Even to this day, I'm working on this video, and the guide series not done. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I got burned out, and I've had the time to fix it. But anyway, let's move on, guys. Let's not talk about that. I got destroyed when I tried to finish that video. Alright guys, let's go ahead and jump into current news. Now the theme of this podcast, like I said, are future updates to DFOG. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is some kind of relatively current news. It's not current anymore. It's actually a few weeks old since it took me so long to make this video. But I just want to point you guys in the direction of a post made by J.K. Rowling on Reddit. I want to recognize him, and to a lesser extent other people as well, for giving us translations on damn near every KDNF update that they've gotten so far. I know translating is a really time-consuming thing, and, I really just appreciate that the renowned award-winning author of the Harry Potter franchise is actually giving some sign to DFOG. Cheers to him, and really anybody else who spent their time translating. For real, this is not an easy thing to do, so shout out to you guys. Anyway, the post for the 23rd of January was to changes in the Mercenary for KDNF. Again, this is only a KDNF update, so if you want to catch a glimpse of it, we're going to have to wait like at least half a year, probably more so. So don't get your hopes up, but these are a lot of changes that I would love to see. The list is pretty comprehensive, so I'm going to leave a link in the description, but I'm just going to kind of summarize some of the big ones that, I'm focusing on. So to start out, guys, just to kind of explain what Mercenary is. Mercenary system is kind of an account reward system. What it'll do, it'll sum up all of the characters on your account, and depending on things like their highest level avatars and stuff like that, you'll be rewarded with perks and or items that you can use to boost your other characters. You could have permanent raw stats for your entire account, level up tickets, and maybe you'll get more rewards based on what your explorer level is. It's a system to reward your alts with a small bit of prestige as well. Since these metrics are going to be publicly available and you can see what other people's mercenary level is, and it's just kind of like a comprehensive account thing. Now we got this new iteration, this current iteration that's in DFOG. That was not too long ago. It was actually updated once already, which is the model that KDNF, as of before this update, was using. Just keep in mind that this will be the third version. If we count the KDNF new version that they got, this will be the third iteration of this mercenary system that they've gotten. Think about it for a second, okay? This is a system of which had to have been adjusted 3 times already. They want to do it, but they just haven't implemented it right. And so this is their third iteration. Let's go over some of the big key changes that are going to be happening with this version 3, I guess. All right, first things first, there's going to be a new Explorer Club mercenary system, okay? The Explorer Club basically is you can group up the characters on your account and you can send them off on a sort of exploration. And really what that means is you just send them off for a certain duration of time. You don't have to worry about them. You can forget about them. And then after that duration of time, they'll come back and give you rewards dependent on various factors, such as how many people were sent, what level they were, and where you send them to. Now, right now, it's really limited, okay? You have to send your entire account to one location, and the rewards kind of get adjusted very slightly. But here are the changes that they're going to be making to KDNF to make that a lot more lenient, okay? You can send multiple characters into different dungeon regions at the same time. Okay, right now, you can only send all of your characters to one region. Now you can send multiple characters in kind of like predestined teams that you set up, and you can send them to different dungeons at the same time. So you're just overall going to be getting a lot more stuff if you have more teams to send out. You'll be getting this item called Glory Crystal as a reward. We'll talk about that later. So the set deployment time maximum is 24 hours, which is pretty cool. I mean, right now in the current iteration, the duration time is like a month. Depending on which region you send them to, it could take you a month for this mercenary team to come back. Now they're saying the maximum time is 24 hours, but it's not very clear as to what the minimum time is, okay? So before, in the iteration before the current version that DFOG has right now, you used to be able to send teams out for any duration of time, and you would get rewarded, compensated properly if you called them back earlier than that. So say I sent them out for 24 hours, but I called them back only after 1 hour, I'll still get rewarded, compensated for that 1 hour. They're saying now that you can't cancel the deployment and still get rewards, but we know that the maximum duration that you can send somebody is 24 hours. It's not clear, however, what the minimum duration is, which is probably what most people are going to be doing. If you're like me, you have a ton of people. This is one of those cases where the quantity is more important than the quality of the items I get back. So I need to know what the minimum deployment time is, but the maximum we know is 24 hours, which is already a huge boost of what it is now. I'm talking literally 1 month deployment. Forget about your characters for a month because you're not going to get any rewards until that month comes back, which is just dumb, just straight up dumb. So 24 hours, okay, every 24 hours, I'm going to get some kind of items, some kind of rewards, and maybe, depending on the minimum deployment, I can get a lot more as I more frequently send them on deployments. The rewards that you get back are going to be based on the deployment length. That's a given. That was, it's expected. If you send them out longer, you should get theoretically better and more rewards. And currently, right now, my overall impression, it's going to be much better than the current system in terms of the things that you got to upkeep. But we don't really know the rewards and the rates and the details right now. So honestly, it's really hard to judge. My guess is anything that they do is going to be better than the current system, because right now it's kind of like this set and forget kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to these changes. Some people don't like the whole micromanaging of mercenary system. They like the idea of set and forget. But right now, it's just not fair. Right now, you set and forget, and you don't even get compensated well enough to make it even worthwhile. Honestly, they give you a few terranium, a few whatever, and it's just like, dude, this was a month worth of farming before. Trust me. I mean, let me just say, the micromanaging of the mercenary system before was so much. I mean, several hundred times more valuable than the iteration that we have now. So it's good that they're kind of going back to their roots there, where they're like, okay, the micromanaging people, if they're actually managing their deployment, they will get more rewards for doing so, which is fair. If you're doing that, you should get rewarded more, compensated better. And don't get me even started about, how many characters are deployed and all of that, because right now, the current iteration, sending out 50 people on deployment is about the same as sending out 1. So it's just so unfair. I don't want to get into that big rant, but I'm not happy with the current iteration. So pretty much like my bias is going to be showing in this kind of recap. I really want changes to the Mercenary system, so it goes without saying that no matter what they do, I was going to be happy with it because this current system is so bad. I've heard some people defend this system like, oh, it's better now. You get free shit. Don't complain. I'm just like, you guys don't have alts. You guys don't make alts. You guys didn't even use the Mercenary system before, and you definitely aren't using it now because, you know, it's you don't even have to think about it. Of course, everybody's using it. But anyway, rant aside, let's keep moving on. Now, the Explorer Club shop is also going to be updated. Now, that is probably one of the biggest things that proponents of the current iteration of the DFOG Mercenary system, they love the Mercenary shop. And trust me, me too. I'm not going to even knock on this, but they're going to be updating it mostly to coincide with the Origin update that we're going to be getting. And trust me, guys, the title of this podcast is going to include the word Origin at some point, so we'll talk about that in a bit. But they're going to be more along those lines, okay? Because they're going to remove some items, add some items, which is going to be nice. So instead of Mercenary points, which is right now you get 250 points on the Mercenary point system, and those cap out at 250. You can't get any more than that. And trust me, I'm always at the cap. Every month I'm like at 250 all the time. I can't even use them. So it's going to be nice to be able to get something I can accumulate and actually use, because I swear I buy every item in the Mercenary shop right now. I can't even use it, you know, so hopefully these changes will help that. Instead, you're going to be getting Valor Crystals, which is, I'm guessing, an actual usable item, of which maybe is account bound and I can accumulate like that. So just keep in mind, we're going to be getting the Valor Crystals instead of the Mercenary points, but the items that we can purchase with the Valor Crystals are nerfed, because the only thing that you can get with Valor Crystals, it seems like, are just leveling tickets and equipment clear tickets. So really, you just use it to level up. What is going to be added to the shop, though, is kind of tying into the new Mercenary system, the Explorer Club system, because the glory crystals that you get from that system, you can purchase things like interdimensional fragments, ancient shard boxes, Dharma symbol boxes, legendary souls. A good way to farm legendary souls is using the Mercenary system now. Awesome. Level 90 epic weapon fragments. This makes two systems in the game now, those being this system now and Luke normals, that you can actually farm level 90 epic weapon fragments, and I'd say pretty damn consistently. If you do it consistently, you can craft yourself a level 90 epic, and you get another system to give you the legendary souls that you need to craft it too. So Mercenary is something that's almost going to be like necessary if you're trying to take yourself seriously. Not to mention, you can boost your other characters with stuff like the Dharma symbol, ancient memory shard boxes, interdimensional fragment. I did see that there's also going to be a 200 DI box, although I think this is going to be heavily overpriced. It's probably not going to be worth it in the Valor Crystals. I'd say get the other stuff before you have, get everything else that you need in terms of, interdimensional fragments and legendary stuff, Dharma symbols, before you start dumping all your points into the DI box, because I think it's going to be super expensive. But that's the shop, guys. It's going to include both glory crystal items, which are like, gear assistance items for your alts, and then the Valor Crystals are going to be your leveling assistance items. So it's kind of like two different things. You'll use the Explorer Club for equipment type stuff. You use the Valor Crystals, kind of the leveling points that you get for leveling other alts. It's just a really good, well-defined system. Now, this is kind of just adjustments to the systems that we have. There's going to be one system, and it's going to be very controversial, but it's a brand new system added to the Mercenary system in KDNF. And this one's going to be the character collection system. I know this is going to be very controversial, but let me just explain what it is. If you have all 4 subclasses of a base class at the maximum level, that's level 90, you have to have at least some expertise level, so you only get expertise level at level 90. If you have all 4 of the subclasses, you will get a benefit of SP and TP. The amount of SP that you gain initially, once you get all your subclasses to level 90, is going to be 100 SP, and all 4 of the subclasses are going to receive that benefit. So, for example, if you get your Berserker, Azura, Weapon Master, and your Soulbender all to level 90, every one of those guys gets 100 SP. You should be getting more SP and TP based on the expertise level of all of the characters as well. So, if you get their expertise level and you start grinding, you'll get some more SP, and you'll even start getting some TP points, which TP is, every 2 points that you get, you can increase the level of one of your skills by 10%. And this is kind of, that's not an insignificant amount, especially if it's on a high level skill. Now, this is very controversial for obvious reasons. I can kind of see the criticisms that you're going to level against this type of system. I've already seen them in the comments of the official post that I'm reading this off of. Basically, what this game is asking you to do is make 3 other characters that you potentially might not have wanted to play in the first place. And really, it's just for the benefit of more SP and TP. And while it seems like a roundabout, really stupid thing to do, It really is. I'm not even going to try to deny that. I'm still in a stalwart defense of this change. Let me explain why. These stats are really just extra stats, okay? They didn't take anything away from the current power level that your characters have as of right now. You're exactly as strong as you are now than before this system ever existed. It's just another means, honestly, of min-maxing your stats. The SP cost, it can do something. It can maybe get you a new skill that you wouldn't have bothered to level. It can maybe give you the last few points that you need to max something, but it's not like that game changing, okay? Those two things are like the main thing. I don't want to make it seem like, okay, you have to do this now or you're not going to be strong. Like, nobody's complaining right now that their SP right now is so limiting that they're so much weaker. If they had just 100 more SP, they'd be good. You know, I don't think people are making that claim, but it is a min-maxing thing, and it's definitely something that people who like min-maxing are going to really get excited for, right? They're gonna think it's worth that effort. Kind of to go off and piggyback off that point, I want to make the point right now that the people who are against the system saying that, oh, you got to do this extra bullshit, you know, it really is lessened when you see how many people right now are at the end game, hyper end game, without a legendary insignia, okay? And legendary insignia is another one of those systems where it feels like you're kind of just going through the motions, you're kind of get forced to do it, and it's really for stats that are, you know, admittedly pretty mediocre in terms of the effort that you put in to get in. It is another system of min-maxing, and a lot of people just forego doing that. I see it all the time in Raid. Oh, they'll just get a random bullshit unique or some rare or something they pick up, no gemstones for it. This is the system that they forgot, and I'd say that's even more stats than this is providing in this system, but they're just ignoring that, right? You really expect me to believe that somebody who wouldn't get a legendary insignia would look at a system like this and then all of a sudden feel like, well, fuck, now I got a level 3 alt and I got to do all this bullshit for all this stats that I absolutely need. Like, no way. These people don't even get legendary insignias. They don't care about min-maxing, you know. If you cared about min-maxing, the point I'm trying to make here, guys, if you cared about min-maxing, the trouble of you leveling a character that you admittedly probably don't like, you never thought about leveling, that is so dwarfed by the fact that you now have a new opportunity to min-max, okay? The same thing about the legendary insignia. Yeah, you have to go through the trouble of grinding, but once you do it, it's worth the effort because you're making your character, and in this case, your characters, stronger. It's worth the effort, right? You're gonna do that just for the sake of getting those min-max stats. If you don't care about min-maxing, then you're not going to care about this change. If you do, you absolutely will abuse this feature and you will go through the trouble of playing a character you might not want to play just for those stats. That's what I'm saying. I think the people who are decrying that kind of system, they really don't care about min-maxing, right? These are not the people that are complaining about it, are not the kind of people that I would expect to min-max their character. They wouldn't go through the effort. They really have no dog in the fight is what I'm getting at here. I guarantee you all the people who have legendary insignias are going to look at this and say, well, fuck, I'm going to have to strap up my boots and start leveling those over shitty characters I don't like because I want those TP and I want those SP, even if it's a slight change like I admitted to. So that's what I'm getting at here. Maybe you make your own point. Maybe you're one of those min-maxers who said, oh, this is the last straw. I'm not going to do this. Fuck that. I don't want to play any other characters. Fuck the 100 SP. In which case I'd say, casuals, man. Just casual. Alright, so anyway guys, as you can see, pretty much everything about these changes I am really in love with, and I do want to kind of take a few seconds to kind of make the point as to why all of these changes are good. Good for the people who actually use the Mercenary system. I think that's kind of the point, right? Is that if you never used the Mercenary system and you really thought of it as a system, as a set and forget kind of system, then really the current system right now kind of caters to you, right? Because you didn't care about it either way. But when you're a player who has made a bunch of characters and has had to deal with the current system, you really do feel like the system shafted the whole idea of making alts, right? Making alts, at least in the past, had so many benefits to it, right? Aside from being able to send off everybody and call them back and get a ton of rewards, get a ton of cards, getting a ton of value, you had other features in the old version, aside from, you know, the Mercenary shop, which is, I admit, Explorer Shop is pretty dang cool right now. But you had other things like the support system. The support system was so awesome, and they decided to remove that even for no reason at all. So you can kind of see where I just felt like there were so many things that they put into the current version of the system that just shafted the whole idea of making alt. They removed the support system, right? To this day, baffling. I cannot understand it. I mean, I can go through the whole list of things that are wrong with that, and basically any issue that you can come up with. Oh, I heard people say, oh, they needed to remove that shit. It was broken for leveling and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, any issue that you have with the mercenary system, I can come up with a solution. I will tell you how to fix it. It's OP in leveling? Fuck it. Make it only max level. Make it so only max level people can use it, right? They already made it so that pretty much any end game dungeon, they don't have supports allowed. So it just baffles me. I know the new KDNF version doesn't have supporters. They really removed that permanently. But there were so many things that were useful out of it, you know. It kind of shored up the deficiencies that your class might have. Maybe you didn't have grouping. Maybe you didn't have hold, and you needed that for some standard level stuff. Like if you're farming hells, it'd be nice to have a grouping move if your class doesn't have a grouping move. All of a sudden, classes who have grouping moves are fucking hella good at farming hells. They do it twice as fast as the classes who fucking suck at grouping, right? It's just shitty, really. It just doesn't make any sense why they wanted to remove that. And like I said, any kind of defense that you can make against why they removed it, I can give you a counter way to fix it and still not make it just fucking completely disappear. Aside from that, I want to also make the point that, you know, they shafted me in two different ways with this new mercenary system. One, they immediately made everybody level 21 explorer level, which was so fucking unfair. I'm talking people who only have 20 characters, they got level 21 explorer level. That is the maximum that they allowed once they changed the system. I had damn near every character max level, and I got level 21 too. And now I'm heavily shafted because I don't have any more characters to fucking play to get the explorer level to level 30. I literally have to make characters just in hopes of deleting them later because all my other fucking characters are going to be max level and I don't have a max level explorer level. I have every character in the fucking game, but I didn't get compensated accordingly in terms of the explorer level that they, you know, kind of converted for us. So I'm literally making characters to delete at this point so I can get my explorer club level up. You know, that's not even half of the problem as to why people like me who have all the characters already got shafted. The current iteration of the Explorer Club Mercenary system, where I send off people to various regions, I have every character in the game. I play Dress Up Fighter Online. All of them have avatars. All of them are near max level. And I send them off to a region. The compensation for the reward is not indicative of that. Okay, I could have sent one guy on a mercenary and they would have come back with almost the same amount of rewards as if I sent out 50 guys or 60 guys. What the fuck? I should get like damn near 60 times the rewards if I send out 60 guys, or something at least comparable, 30 times the rewards, 20 even. Dude, I'm not even getting a 20% increase for sending fucking 60 more guys than one. What the fuck? Anyway, I didn't want to rant about this, but this current system is fucking trash, and anybody who tries to say otherwise really has no dog in the fight again. I'm going to bring that up. The people who are most vocal are probably the people who it does not affect the most. Of course, I'm going to be the most vocal about it because for me, the old system at least was, you know, you can participate in it as lazily or as actively as you wanted, and if you were more active, you got rewarded for being that way. If you just wanted to leave them on dispatch for a whole month, you could do that. They need to go back to that roots, right? Okay, if you want to be a lazy guy and just set and forget, you could have done that in the past. And if you want to be an active guy and actually get rewards for the characters that you've made, you should be able to do that too. And I'm glad that at least part of that is getting addressed in this new system. Being able to send out multiple teams at once, being able to buy useful items like interdimensional fragments, legendary souls, and using your alts to do that. Great system. Stuff like that. The new collection system, it promotes people making alts again, kind of like the support system did. It promotes the idea of making alts. That's what Mercenary is. Okay, don't ever try to make it and cater to just making one character, because right now the current iteration, like I said, if you send out one guy on a mercenary, it's about the same as sending out 60. Who really cares how many fucking characters you make right now? You know, mercenary is just fucking dead. I'm kind of like oversimplifying it because there's things like the stat gains that I can get for based on explorer level, which again, my explorer level got fucked and it's imbalanced, and I don't want to harp on this forever, guys, so I'm gonna stop right there. But I'm saying, look, whatever the changes were, they're good. Because the current system is so fucking trash. Yeah, I lost a lot. So I'm going to yell my grievances. I'm going to tell you why I really support the changes that are coming, even the ones that are going to be criticized, like the character collection system. But okay, guys, let's rein it back in. Let's stop ranting about Korea. After all, who really gives a shit about that kind of stuff when we probably aren't going to be seeing that for a year, like close to a year from now. There's a lot more exciting stuff that's coming just right around the corner. So I ranted for like half of this video about something that we're not even going to get. Let's talk about the stuff that we're actually getting very soon. Of course, I'm talking about the Origin update. Official release date is the 28th of February. Exactly 2 weeks actually from the recording of this video. Now, I could just find an older post from back when the Origin update was released and big news in KDNF. And from that, I could post it and I could tell you everything that Origin is going to be giving us. That, however, I think will be better revealed by Neopol themselves in the coming weeks. Expect for them to release things like the trailers, patch notes, and stuff like that. What I want to talk about, though, are the things that we are going to be losing following that patch, which honestly is probably more important right now. Did you know things like Dark Elf Ruins and the weekly system? They're going to be gone. If you didn't know that, well, now's about the only chance that you get to capitalize on them in the fullest, okay? So really what I'm trying to tell you is, instead of being excited for the stuff to come, be mindful of the stuff we're going to be losing, okay? And capitalize on those before we lose them, because you're not going to get a second chance, okay? So stuff to collect before the patch hits. There was a post, again, this time it was on Reddit, but it was also just officially by Neopol about the things that are going to be happening after the maintenance on the 28th. And it basically told us of the things that we're going to be losing. And I'm just going to rattle them off for you guys and kind of talk about them. Just to remind you about all of them, okay? Just if you're listening in, just keep in mind, okay? Make a little list, make a little tally note. Okay, I got to do that shit because you're not going to get a second chance, okay? Number 1, boss uniques will no longer be sold by NPCs, and meteors will not drop in dungeon anymore. That's an obvious one, okay? You got to use all of your meteors. I'm talking mysterious meteors. I'm talking Arad meteors, blue, black, glowing, red, all of that shit. Oblivion, use it. Just use it. Just buy. There's going to be, I'm going to talk about after this what things I suggest buying. But if you have nothing to buy, just fucking use them and disassemble the items that you get out of them, right? But be on the lookout for items that could actually be useful, such as swap equipment or really, fun equipment or maybe farming type stuff. Be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. Because you're going to lose the option for boss uniques. And some boss uniques literally are best in slot swap weapons. So you better have them for your class before you lose the boss uniques. Tower of the Dead, Tower of Illusion, and Dark Elf Ruins content will no longer be available. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. Actually, Tower of the Dead and Tower of Illusion really is just dead content. There isn't really much reason for anybody to do them nowadays. Dark Elf Ruins is not that case, okay? There's a lot of reasons to do that. But we're going to be losing Dark Elf Ruin and the content that involves the Dark Elf Ruins. So the NPC Alicia, no longer going to be there. She's no longer going to sell any more items. So you've got to use all of the stuff that you've gotten from Dark Elf Ruins, all of the dimensional fragments. You got to buy all your Chronicle gear. If you've gotten a lot of Halidom fragments, you got to use those. And you've got to do this on all of your characters. So I don't care if, you already have your swap set or whatever. Use your dimensional materials, buy a Chronicle set, disassemble whatever you get out of it, because you're just going to be wasting it otherwise. So sign into your character, get all the things at Alicia, and be sure to use all those items. This one's a really sad one for me. The weekly mission challenge will no longer be available. The NPC Syria will no longer sell weekly challenge related items. Right now those items involve things like a card box, 5 of them a day, a powerful bead, which is going to be rare or unique beads. She's losing that option. Powerful energy, a clear ticket for Tower of Despair, and even a gruff summoning ticket. Like, all of these items were cool, and you can use your coins to do them. I did a thing called Psycho Sundays, which is going to be dead because both Dark Elf Ruins and the weekly system are going to be gone. So basically that video means fucking nothing after the Origin update. But make sure to sign into all your characters and use all of your coins, your weekly coins. In my case, I have so many. I told this before, but I've done so much Psycho Sundays that I literally cannot use them all in like a year. So I have all of my characters that have at least 40 coins. I can't even use them now. I don't have enough time to use them. I'm buying literally everything in the shop, and I won't have enough time before the update hits. So make sure to sign into your characters, and if you have to, sign into them every day until the update hits to purchase all those items yourself. NPC Sharing Shop will no longer sell First Chronicle equipment. I don't think anybody's going to be bothered about that. I would say if you are bothered about that, it'd only be for the case of the weapon, because the weapon is actually a unique look. And if you don't know what First Chronicle are, I wouldn't be surprised. It's kind of like this legacy kind of fucking old ass shit that nobody remembers. But basically, I would look at Sharon Shop right now, be on a character that you might want to get a cool flashy weapon, and take a look at what the Chronicle weapon for your first Chronicle is, and just get it for bragging rights or looks, because seriously, the first Chronicle gear is just trash gear. It doesn't even mean anything. So just look at it. That'd be the only reason I'd say, hey, maybe you might want to buy something. You're going to need, it's actually the Chaos Stone Debris. Go ahead and make the Chaos Stones and you can buy a Chronicle gear. Greedy accessory and Treasure Hunter accessories will no longer be available at the NPC Iris' shop. They need to take that shit away from the game, really. This is so outdated. There is a level restriction on it. Once you get past level 70, you can't even put the gear on. It gives like drop rate increase and shit like that, but like I said, once you hit a certain level, you can't even put it on. So they really just need to remove it from the game or whatever. They say it's not going to be available at Iris' shop, but I know that Gabe will sell that shit to you sometimes, and it's just a waste. I'd rather him sell me fucking cubes and this useless gear. Transcendence and Helcarium weapons can no longer be obtained. This is, again, more of this outdated kind of old gear. Helcarium weapon used to be good for First Awakenings, but now we have Halidom gear, which includes the First Awakening and all the skills up until your current level of the weapon, so no need for that. And the Transcendence weapons almost have no use. I made a point, I was like, Transcendence weapons are shit, and then somebody in the chat was kind of like, whoa, Weapon Master could maybe use this shit if they do this partial swap. I'm like, you know what, fuck that shit. This is garbage. Disassemble your Transcendence weapons. But I will make the same point that I made about the first Chronicles. Some of the Transcendence weapons actually look pretty dang cool, so I would get them just for the looks, not really for their usage. And if they're going to be removing them permanently, this is going to be another one of those novelty items that, I'll just switch to this and make fucking newbies all jealous. So I would get it for just that sake. A little tidbit, a little note. It's going to be nice to get that quest removed from our quest log. The one that June is asking for 5 million to get a second Transcendence weapon. That's been on my quest log on my night forever. And I'm like, fuck you, June. I'm not going to give you 5 mil for another fucking shitty Transcendence weapon. Get this shit out of here. So thank God they're removing that. Such a small thing, but you know, when you're trying to 100% your quest log and all that shit, that was a thorn in my side, I tell you what. The quest requirement for the limited quest Ekon Born to Fight will be changed. I don't know what they're going to change it to, but basically it is suggested to just complete the quest before the maintenance. So it's probably going to be changed due to the fact that Ekon itself is going to be changed. So yeah, like I said, complete the quest. Some of the level up tickets in the Explorer shop will be have its usable range, level range adjusted. It's not going to be the changes we talked about in KDNF. We're not going to get these same changes in the Origin update. Those are going to be coming later. Hopefully I didn't confuse you guys like that, but we are going to be getting a slight change to the Mercenary system right now. They're going to be changing the level up tickets, and some of the items in the Explorer shop are actually going to get removed now. Those are going to be the First Awakening clear ticket, Second Awakening, and the Feet clear quest ticket. Those quest clear tickets are going to be removed, so you're not going to be able to instantly get First and Second Awakening. And they're removing the Feet quest clear ticket because they're actually going to be removing the Feet system in general. We're not going to get any stats from the title book apparently, so we'll see where that kind of takes us, but they're taking it out of the Mercenary shop. So Mercenary shop is getting nerfed right now, and it'll be changed much later from now, okay? But aside from that, guys, those are the things that we are definitely going to be losing once Origin hits. I did mention that there are some stuff that you might want to collect before the patch hits, and those are mainly items that you want to get using your meteors. I'm talking boss uniques and stuff like that, okay? Because we're going to be losing those. Those are going to be super important. Things like the damn First Chronicle weapon and Transcendence weapon, they're removing those because they're useless, right? They're just like, whatever. Nobody gives a shit about that. But the boss uniques are not useless, okay? They are very important. So if you're watching this, maybe this is the first thing I tell you. Get some of these boss uniques if you don't have them. You are absolutely going to regret if you don't. So let's go ahead and talk about some stuff to collect before the patches. This is kind of like your checklist. You have to complete this checklist before the 28th or expect to be very fucking sad when somebody has some gear that you can no longer get anymore. Let's go over that list real quickly now. Alright, so I've got another post on Reddit here again by J.K. Rowling. Fuck, man. All of my fucking videos are going to be about this guy, man. He keeps uploading all this good info onto Reddit. So, good info right here. This is kind of like a quick summary of items that may be very useful as either swap type weapons or really cool weapons that you can get on your characters that are boss uniques, okay? So you have to use your meteors to buy them. In my case, I have a lot of different characters and they have different numbers of meteors, so I'll just buy it on that character and then eventually transfer it. But the idea is you have to buy it, right? You have to get it on somebody so that you can transfer it later, because they're just not going to exist later. So make sure that you have a copy, at least on somebody on your account, so you can give it to the person that you want to eventually, if not right now. Okay, I'm only going to talk about the swap weapons first. First is Gigalodon Boneslayer. This is +2 Warcry for Elven Knight. It's not the best swap weapon, I'll be honest, but it is a very easy one and a very good one. I think things like Unsung Warrior Tachi and even after that Volcanic Destruction, whatever, Rock Sword is going to be better than that. But up until you get either of those things, this is going to be the best one. And it's very easy to get. Gigalodon is something farmed in Behemoth, so you just need Arad Meteors. I think, a little bit amount of those. Lotuses add Sorbent and Gauntlet. That is something, again, farmed in Behemoth. This is going to be for your grappler type characters. Female, male grappler, they'll get Overwhelming Grab, which is going to be a swap buff. I don't know if it is right now, but it will be eventually. I did see some people making the point that it's not necessary to get this gauntlet because if you have rental weapons, if you have Neo Premium Plus, you can get the rental weapon, which also gives you +2 on Overwhelming. But in my case, I would say always renting out a weapon every time you play a character is annoying. It's better to just have that weapon on hand at all times. So I would say it's worth the effort of getting that, especially if you main one of those characters. I will be doing that for mine. So good weapon right there. Another weapon is Gigalodon Shark Gun. So again, same thing with the Bone Slayer. Gigalodon is giving +2 to robotics. So both the female and male mechanics have a pretty low level weapon that they can swap to get +2 on robotics. It should be noted that the gear-derived auto gun is also a +2 robotics gun, but it is a much higher level. That is actually a level 85 boss uniques that you can only get from Metal Brachium, so you're going to need the purple meteors for that. So it's kind of useful if you already have a bunch of purple meteors and you don't have a lot of Arad meteors, then maybe you want to get this high-level kind of swap weapon. But personally, if it's just for swapping purposes, just farm the Arad meteor. It's way easier to do, and you don't need as many. They both do the same thing though, +2 do robotics, so pick your poison, but they're both boss uniques. Dusk Eye, that's a level 70. You're going to need, I think you get that in Bonhoeffer, so that actually gives you +2 to overcharge and buster shots. It's a musket. It's going to be a swap weapon for your male and female Spitfire, so another gun that gives you +2 to your buff skills, and you're going to need blue meteors for that, and quite a bit of them, but luckily on this list there's not a lot of items that need blue meteors. It's a pretty damn rare meteor, actually. There's not a lot of items that you can buy with blue meteors, but luckily we have Dusk Eye. The one item that was not on this list, and I made a comment and I was like, you need to get this, is the Corrupt Imposter Death Scythe. Okay, this is a weapon for your Avenger and your Mistress, and it actually gives you 100% duration on their first awakenings. And if you know how those classes play, their awakenings are their transformation skills. Demonize for the Avenger, which changes them into a demon, and the Corrupt Sins move on Mistress changes her into a succubus demon, and you can extend that duration by 100% if you have the weapon equipped. The drawback is you do lose 50% of your damage, but if you're really overpowered and you're just using it to farm, it's really nice to have the transformation for the whole dungeon, or just a longer duration. Even if you're weaker, you can compensate for the weakness, but the duration is a very, very unique effect. In fact, I would say that most of the weapons that you get in the Time Gate area are very, very unique. They're kind of nice to have. Read their effects. For instance, I think a really strong weapon, even to this day, is a weapon that I got on my Berserker, and I still use it. It's a really strong katana, is the Mist Katana, which is a katana that is not only fast, does decent damage, but also has a 18% crit damage buff, which is pretty damn unique for a damn unique weapon. It can match up to some of my strongest weapons, actually, a 20% damage buff. Now, nowadays, it's not as good as it used to be, but it's a weapon I still switch to if I wanted to use a strong katana really quickly. There are other items. There's actually a stat item for your satyrs. Okay, this necklace called For My Sister is actually a spirit necklace that gives 163 spirit at the highest grade, and 163 spirit for a necklace is pretty dang high. That's really going to just be used for your spirit satyrs, but it's a good swap. Spirit satyr necklace is a really good one, so that's good for stats. The rest of these items are not really for swapping purposes. It's more for like memes or just kind of fun. And again, these are kind of weapons like the ones that I talked about in the Mistress and Avenger. These are weapons that could potentially be really useful. You know, the effect that they provide can be maybe weak because the weapon itself is weak, but the effect it does is really good. So it could still be usable in certain situations, which you can compensate for the lack of damage it has with other gear, you know. The Commodore Cannon Hands hand cannon, I think on the jump attack and the last of your basic attack, it'll shoot this laser. So if you have really high damage, you start shooting lasers as a cannon weapon, so that's cool. He did list like Imp Becky's shoes and Cyborg Kick. These are unique boots that have a ton of move speed. Like, I'm talking really, really fast move speed, but only for like some time, you know, like 4 seconds and then a 20-second cooldown or something like that. So I don't think it's really usable. I'd say maybe if you're gonna farm, try to get yourself some football shoes, which are much more consistent or something like that. But you know, these are uniques, so if you have nothing else to spend the meteors on, you're not losing anything. I just don't think I would use them very often personally. Same thing with the Elting Memorial Quality Ring. It gives you like up to 10% move speed on a ring, which is pretty rare. The Becky Special Goggles and Mechanical Dragon Essence are just good statted sub-equipment magic stones. They just give raw stats. Very good, I would say, for like fixed damage classes, because it has independent damage and all of your raw stats on there. It's pretty good. And finally, the Abyssal Shark Suit. If you do Luke right now, the clown can be kind of annoying if you don't have a lot of hold or really good long hold. And so what you can do is, as long as all 4 people are doing it, you can kind of camouflage, and then you can use the Abyssal Shark Suit to camouflage for a long period of time, to which the clowns just stand there then. They don't have any aggro. So it's kind of like a cool item to use to cheese the gimmick in that sense. You don't need any hold. So really nice item. I would say get it on anybody who you plan on doing Luke on, just in case you don't have any holds and everybody has that. You can abuse that, but again, it would be contingent on everybody in the party doing what I'm saying here, getting it before we get the Origin update. And I would be sure, again, check the description for the link to these Reddit posts and stuff like that, because a lot of people in the comments had other suggestions, such as if you wanted to get some gear just for farming some extra gold. There's some like gold specific gear, like gold bat orange or gold combat gloves or something like that. There's things like the Magtonium short sword, which is a good ESSM weapon for short sword masters, and stuff like that. Okay, people kind of giving their 2 cents. I gave my 2 cents on the scythe because I think that's a fucking awesome weapon. I would hate if either my Avenger or my Mistress didn't have that weapon. So if you play either of those classes, get that fucking scythe. Trust me, you're gonna thank me for that. And at the end of the day, guys, just make sure to use all of the meteors that you have, all of the Dark Elf Ruin stuff, and all of the weekly challenge tokens. I'm just reminding you 3-4 times this video now. Use all those stuff, because come 28th, I don't want to hear anybody bitching talking about, nobody told me to use that shit. I done told you fucking 4 times, okay? So, use your shit. Alright, we've been going for a long time today, guys. I did kind of want to talk about all of this stuff. The last thing I want to mention is, like I said, I didn't want to speculate too much of the stuff that we're going to be getting, because they're going to be giving all the patch notes and all that stuff, but I did kind of want to just barely touch on the swap system. The swap system is probably the one thing that people are waiting for the most in this Origin update. In fact, I think people were waiting for it far before the Origin update. This was something that they've wanted for so long now that it feels like we've been asking forever. And it's one of those things where we didn't know we had this ailment and then until they told us about it, right? It's like, man, I didn't know how bad we've been struggling. We've been playing DFO for 3 years now, and I didn't realize how bad I hurt and how bad I needed the swap system until right before they keep, teasing us with it, right? It's just like, fucking the swap system sucked, and I've been saying that for like 3 years, and it's only now until we're barely on the fringe of finally getting it where people are like, fuck, I can't wait for the swap system, right? So I'm on that camp. I'm saying the same thing. In fact, I remember it was not too long ago where I made like a suggestion on the suggestion thread. I was like, dude, give me a swap system, man. Give me like, I don't care what you do. Give me a 1-button swap system. That's what I suggested. And I was like, because the lag, it's so hard to swap. Our version of the game is not like KDNF, despite what you might think, because of the lag situation. Especially if you play in West Coast, we have to talk to servers that are in the East Coast. And every time I click my equipment, it takes a significant amount of time for it to actually equip. There's a significant delay. So me clicking through all this fucking gear, on 9 slots of my regular gear, switching over to my avatar tab and switching pet and then switching all back, this is some bullshit. So this new system is a godsend because it's even better than the 1-button swaps that I was suggesting. This is a no-button swap system. All you do, I've talked about this several times, but what you'll do is in in town you will equip a set of gear of which is considered your swap gear. All of the gear that you put into this swap UI system will only account for one skill only, that being your swap skill, which all classes will have. Crusader might have more than one, but most every other class in the game will have just the one swap skill. So if you have a couple like Ninmaster, Demon Slayer, those classes, they're going to consolidate those into just one swap skill. So you're only going to have one to worry about. Put all that gear on, and when you cast that skill, it will only take into account the gear that is put into the swap system. Like say there's a top that you wear for your regular gear, but you don't want to use it in the swap system, that's fine. Just make sure that in your swap UI, you don't put any gear on the top, and it will account for the regular gear that you have on. So there's no like loopholes around it either. You can't kind of like, try to half and half it or double dip. You're not going to be able to do that. But just know it's a very comprehensive system. It has all of the auras, it has all the avatars, it has everything. So you won't have to worry about swapping pretty much anymore. They're going to have gear slots that have all the swap gear slots in them, and then you could just put all that gear in there and then forget about it. So if you're not worrying about your swap right now, you have to worry about your swap right now. Okay, I've mentioned this several times now. If you don't have a swap set, say you don't need one, well, I'm strong enough I don't need it. It's laziness, and it's this is not a case of min-maxing this time. Okay, this is way bigger than that. We're talking, and this is a much bigger deal than you might think, because a lot of the times you farm this, you spend all this time getting all this swap gear, but depending on the content, you might not decide to use it because it's cumbersome. Like I said, it's gotta swap down fucking 9 pieces of gear every dungeon, then swap back out, and then finally get to play for however long it takes to do the dungeon. Then you got to do it all over again. It's not worth the hassle. Trust me, I hated that shit. Now consider that you're always gonna get the benefit of that without having to worry about it, as long as you have it farmed up. You don't even have to think about it anymore. So make sure that if you're not worried about it now, start getting pieces, start buying stuff in the auction hall, and it's going to be expensive. And most importantly, get the fucking boss uniques. This will be the 5th time I tell you guys, get the boss uniques that account for some swap weapons, because you need to, or you're going to lose out on that chance. I'm really hyped for the swap system. I think everybody is. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of other stuff coming in the Origin update that are also going to be kind of interesting, like, class balances and fucking Lancers. Don't even get me started on Lancers. Just a change into the Awakening system and the questing system and all of that. There's going to be all of that. We'll be getting that. But in terms of the functionality of how the game plays, this is going to be one of those game-changing things that is going to really make this game a lot more fluid to play. Because the clunky fucking swapping bullshit was just... Like I said, it's taken 3 years. 3 years too many for them to finally give us that. But anyway, guys, I could talk about these subjects that we're going to be getting ad infinitum, okay? Like I said, the upcoming Lancers, Grandpa coming down the pipe. But really, it's not really in my nature to speculate forever on these things, I'm just more kind of like, look, I'll be satisfied when we actually get the content and then judging it after that fact. So for now, let's go ahead and end the video now. Alrighty, guys. So instead of asking you the questions like in the middle of the podcast, I'm just going to summarize them here at the end. First, I want to hear what you guys think about the new Mercenary system in KDNF. The changes to the Mercenary system, your opinions on that, your opinions on the current version of the Mercenary system, and lastly, what are your thoughts about the new character collection system that KDNF has? That being the make 4 alts and get 100 SP plus some TP if you keep going. Are you guys in for or against that system? Because like I said, I'm in for of it, but I can easily see why you'd be on the other fence on that. Next, we kind of talked about what we're losing in the Origin update, weekly system, challenge system, various boss uniques, stuff like that. Are you guys okay with the changes that we got? Maybe we should have kept some stuff. I really don't think we should remove anything out of the game unless we go out of our way to either replace it or improve it, So they didn't do that as far as I know. So I'm a little worried why they'd want to remove something without giving us an alternative to do instead. It's just kind of removing content, especially good content like Dark Elf Ruins for no reason. But what do you guys think about it? Stuff to collect before the patch hits? Is there anything that you think is cool or you think is very useful? You gotta tell us in the comments right now what we need to get before the patch hits in 2 weeks, or we're gonna fucking regret it, and I'm gonna blame your ass for not telling me. Lastly, what are your opinions on the swap system? Are you ready for the swap system as well? Are you, maybe you're one of those people who actually don't think it's worth the time or something like that, which I'm telling you right now, you're wrong. But is this your main attraction to the Origin update, or are you maybe looking towards other stuff? Because for me, I think this is one of the main things. I know there's a lot of other stuff in the Origin update, but this is the one I wanted to talk about because I'm really excited for it. But anyway, guys, those are the 4 questions I posed in this very, very long podcast this time. We actually had a full-length podcast. kind of talked a lot about the Mercenary system, and I know it seems weird and out of place, but it is a topic I wanted to talk about because I feel invested in it. But we did kind of talk about Origin, and here's hoping that it's a really good update. I'm not going to speculate on it any further. The next time we're going to talk about Origin is when the update actually hits, and it will be hype. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you nice later.